You have to be able to pull out these solo clutch moments, regardless if that's playing safe on the low ground. Maybe you even go for a solo height take like what we've seen before. But just, I mean, we're talking about these crazy clutch games that these teams may need. Well, if you look at our teams going for those qualification spots in 3rd, 5th, 6th, and 7th place, each one of them has a victory royale. Within those victory royales, they're able to get double-digit eliminations or close enough. So we already know that every single one of these teams is capable of a 100-point swing, and that might be just what they need, Vivid.
Oh man, I don't even know what to say. Right, it kind of feels like we're going into game number 12, but I kind of hyped it up. It means so much for a lot of these trios right now. I don't even know what I want to see here, Zeke. Just crazy stuff. I do want to go ahead and give a shout out to Bolts though, because statistically speaking, he does have the most solo points to the first 10 games with 49 himself, quickly followed up by Peterbot with 48. So those solo clutches making a huge difference on the leaderboard. Let's see if all of these trios can kind of battle it out, stay all 3 up, and make it to the end game, and we can have some crazy game number 11.
Oh man, 2 games left to go before we wrap up grand finals in North America. It's fine. Everything is fine. No one's stressed. We're all happy. Everything's great. Let's get ready for game number 11. Casters, are you guys great too? Oh.
I don't know, man. I think I'm going as same as you, Monster. You might be on a cool another level, but you have been in these situations before as well. And I want to shift this conversation. If Pollo continues to play how he's playing, I think that NA GOAT debate shifts from Peterbot to him.
Yeah, I mean, I dropped it in the middle of our commentary like 2 games ago. Acorn's team is the best right now, but remember, they also didn't change their strategy. They have been practicing the Demon's Domain all season long, regardless of what the narrative was a couple weeks ago or days ago, really, with the shakeup that we, of course, seen. It's incredible times now, and game number 11 sounds like it's ready. It's a big time right here, Jacob. We got game 11 in front of us. We got what Vivid is looking to as one of the critical points here for the closeout of the tournament. I think he's spot on, not only for, of course, setting up a potential catalyst for your global championship spot, but it's really a matter of the winner at Demon's Domain. If they walk away with things, they might just have a gap that's too big to close.
Yeah, right now it's only 39 points, and we've seen gaps like that close after one singular game, but that's when there's been a lot of games left. Game 1 over, the next one begins, 12 games throughout it all. I said it's a marathon and not a race, but at this stage in the tournament, it's turning into a little bit of a foot race overall between, I want to say, the top 3 teams in the tournament include Rapid, Kanata, and Bolts in that mix as well, because just one mistake could really change things up going into the final game of the day.
Yeah, they might be 100 points away, but again, with a game buffer, they could close that gap and then be in the conversation to close out pretty strongly. Now, this is going to come at the hands of basically a mistake, right, from Cold, Ritual, Peterbot, and Acorn's trios without anything kind of interfering with how consistent they've been. It's going to be tough to ask for anything more than that. But when you start looking at the points and the way the points are being allocated right now, I mean, this is one of the few times I think we've seen Aegis, Acorn, and Pollo's team, I feel like, keep up in a way that they're keeping up right now. Like, we're talking like leading, or if not, basically neck and neck with overall eliminations, which is very hard to do when you have a Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual type trio dynamic, right? Cold and Peterbot, clearly the usual leaders with the Elim game. So I just feel like they've met their match, right? This is the first time on the region as a whole we've seen 2 such dominant trios run away and go head-to-head like this.
I mean, you did ask me a question yesterday. You said, who is going to stop this team? Who is going to stop Peterbot at the incredible run he was having? I said it. I said, looking at the leaderboard, there's teams that are fighting for a global championship spot. There's teams that are out of the running in terms of the leaderboard. I said, if only man himself is Pollo, but you can include Aegis, you can include Acorn, but let's give a shout out to Aegis. 38 eliminations by himself through these 10 games so far, and it's Pollo who's on top of the damage chart, so they have spots 1 and 2 in terms of elimination and damage, firing on all cylinders. And we were just talking about Kanata's team, kind of just play it out. You don't have to do anything major, maybe average a top 8 placing. They're finding themselves in a similar spot if they could just have one more decent game here.
Yeah, we need to create a graphic that has like a stat card with all of their pros and cons and just let me see that, because we need to put everyone side by side, man. Agers, I feel like, is just not getting the credit he's been deserving all season long, but this major in particular, he really is showing out, and as has Bolts, right? And that's what's really cool about this. We're seeing the best of the best also shine through when it kind of matters on this global stage here, but this is in setup, of course, for the global championship. I know we haven't seen the best showing from, maybe Clix's trio or even Muzz in his trio in the last game, but they are still in this conversation right now. Oh, talk about Clix and Yamzo. Look at them go right here. A little fight.
Yeah, it almost seems like they're playing with a little bit of emotion intact. Things haven't necessarily been going their way this tournament. They've been kind of switching up their strategy, trying to get Surge from the distance, lurking up on the teams, and overall just being aggressive. And now we're turning back to the aggressive nature. We always talk about how do you close the lead with not enough games left. You have to go on an elimination frenzy. That's one of the only ways, especially 4 points per elimination. Boyo, Agers, and Acorn doing the same thing. They know this team lands down here. This time around, they're able to take advantage. Good damage, and they're keeping them close by. Not letting them heal up, not letting them get any motion in this fight.
Definitely a good set of eliminations right here. Remember, they have to make up a lot of points, right? Like 30 points might not seem like much, but that is a good amount of eliminations in a grand finals type setting. And if you can get them early, this is how you start to pad up your standings here and really give you a run for the top. But also think about where it positions them on the map, right? Remember, we've seen this before where they start playing these outskirts and try to find themselves, kind of in the line of fire of Peterbot's team or vice versa. So for Acorn, Agers, and Boyo to start getting around, I think it makes sense, right? You gotta play fast and move fast almost.
Yeah, even though we kind of look at a team just kind of like, you don't want to turtle up too much. We talk about not wanting to make a mistake, but for a team like that, Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual are going to get aggressive. You know they're going to go for eliminations to try to take the win back. So only time will tell to see how this game closes out. But for Rise, Aviv, and G-Money, we always talk about those global championship spots. Only 2 up for grabs in this major on Central. Kanata, Bolts, and Rapid, 589 points. They start this game over Aviv, G-Money, and Rise, 71 points. But for them, they're in the lead over Buga's team by about 60.
Look at a quick replay right here. That Superman laser beam once again coming into full effect there. This fight starting to come to a close here shortly. Cyclops, VLEX, HQ pushing down Zonda. Now remember, Zonda's team was fall into the hands of Acorn and stuff kind of earlier in the day, but it seems like they kind of mixed things up, but not exactly the best strategy here as they've just gotten caught off by a different trio instead.
But 4 eliminations so far for a team like this. Good start. Depending on where you place down the leaderboard, each placing grants you just kind of unlocks more and more money. Kind of start to build that chemistry, but Blue is just hiding. They don't know exactly where he was able to disengage from, but he's peeking through that cone. They make one wrong move. He does have the Outlaw, so he will be able to down 1 in quick succession, but it's all about that second one.
Look at the feed.
Ooh.
There's big elims happening right now, potentially as well. All that momentum can change in a moment's eye. Boyo, Acorn, Agers getting active right now. Things are starting to collide here. This is a real desperate situation for a Mistform to start coming out. They're gonna have to hit the reset button here. You have Bryce's team here. This is just outside the contention of multiple trios now. I'm just looking at the map here. Everyone's kind of slowed down for a second right now. Acorn, Boyo, and Agers, what in the W key are we seeing right here? Are they trying to create such a buffer between them and the opponents? Maybe they're enabling a different strategy we haven't seen from Acorn, Boyo, and Agers so far. I feel like this is definitely a little bit more aggressive than usual.
I'm thinking right now, I'm calculating, I'm like a robot, boop, beep, boop, taking in all the information. It almost seems like they're doing that, trying to isolate eliminations as Cold, Peterbot, Ritual. We saw in the feed, they were able to pick this one up on the visuals. Luckily for him, his teammates are still alive overall, but it almost looks like Acorn, Aegis, and Pollo are looking for a dead side rotate. They saw the zone shift up towards the north, all the way towards the west. They know every team around their POI, all the way up towards the north, including the east side, is going to rotate on that edge. So they're trying to be quick, fast, and in a hurry. Beat all these other teams to the punch, but it seems like Cold, Peterbot, and Ritual might have that same plan because they're heading right in that direction of the first place team.
No, I think they have a different plan. It's not dead side. It's let's find Acorn. There's only so many places they could be. One little false look to the right, and they would have spotted him out. I wonder if Cole or Rich was going to go ahead and do that. Peterbot's going straight for the high ground here. It's going to give them all the visibility on the teams that are fighting nearby. Launchpad's here as well to work with. There it is. Seems like they might have actually spotted something out down there.
They know somebody's there, but it's kind of hard. It's a tough situation to be in. I feel like we've seen this before in group stages. How they got Brutal Boxcars uncontested. They use that rift. They're trying to get out. And that's what I was talking about with the lab. It might be hard to get in. Not as hard to get an exit, but they see exactly the direction they are moving in. So they might not try to beeline their direction right to them, but they are going to be hovering and hounding them the entire way through.
I was gonna say, you don't really have to, right? All you gotta do is hold them out, get into the kind of their directional, rotational areas, and do what you need to do from there. But map knowledge coming through for Acorn, Aegis, Pollo. They go straight to the other launch pad. They veer out even further, and look, they're just going pad to pad right now. I think spider senses are kicking in for them right now. They're like, wait, there's danger nearby. We gotta go. G-Money, Aviv, and Rise, though, still in a bit of a scuffle over there as Acorn, Aegis, and Pollo just trying to figure out how to live to see another day right now.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You see this? You see this, right? They dropped the medallion from Demon's Domain. They know it. You are exactly right, Monster. The hairs on the back of their neck was sticking up. They got the chills. They said, nah. This just does not feel right. And this could be a bait. I wonder if this could be a bait possible play. Either way, they are thinking outside of the box here. I'm hyped.
What is going on right now? He's going back for it. It's either a misplay or some 1000 IQ big brain play to see if he can beat them into walking into some of their territory. But again, there's just so much happening there, and you could tell that Peterbot Cold was on to their heels. But look at this. They lost Ritual. What happened? Oh, the tides might be turning here.
Oh, the 3-2-1. The team fire enough. Smiley and Salt just get the elimination. And I would say, luckily for them, Monster, there is a reboot van just up that mountain. I think Peterbot is already gaining access to that. The biggest thing that they've lost right here is not only the time to rotate to the zone, but the storm surge, if any, that
I cut it right now, people. The final game, Peterbot lane on Poto. Final game. I got it right now.
I don't even know what the comms are like right now for them to just have the opportunity and then watch it slip before their fingertips. This might just be, honestly, the play that sets them all the way back. Pollo, Acorn, and Aegis likely just finding, renewed breath here as they see what's happening. And look at this, pushing right through Oliver OG's team, not because they have to, but because they want to. They can just do that. They have the momentum, they have the lead, they have the points right now, they have the buffer room to work with, and the bigger they can build this lead, the more likely they are to get themselves another championship right now. Pollo's gonna put himself, into that 5x conversation, into that GOAT best of the best on NA conversation. It's just happening here and now, right before our eyes.
I'm just waiting for that montage afterwards of Pollo essentially saying, anything you can do, I can do better. You saw the stat, Pollo leading in damage with his team. They went and picked right back up their medallion as well, making sure to keep the entire loot of Demon's Domain intact, finding a couple more eliminations. And as you said, with Ritual going down, them finding more eliminations, they're putting it in a position to where, yeah, maybe Ritual, Cold, and Peterbot can win with an elimination, but how many eliminations? It's almost putting them in a spot where they need a historic game in order to overtake that first place spot.
Keeping things interesting. Remember, this is only game 11 for the NA finals here for Major 3.
Wait.
Kanata, Rapid, and Bolts. We did all that conversation. We almost forgot about Rapid, Kanata, and Bolts are in the running here as well. But look, they're much more passive, right? At this pace, how are you going to close that gap? 710 points now for Agers, Acorn, and Boya after all the effort they've kind of put in this round. It's just getting further and further away.
You can see them just continuing to trade shots from the mountain ranges. On the other side, though, have not been able to get Peterbot back on up just yet.
Wait, how Peterbot died? Okay.
It is relatively early, one tick
Fortnite,
zone.
you can't miss anything
It does look
right
like
now.
that team is following him. I'm wondering if he kind of drew them out away from the attention of Peterbot and Ritual, because you see them over towards Canyons Crossing, nowhere in sight. So far, you see him on the bottom of the mini-map trying to make their appearance, but he is getting pushed by an entire trio. Cold is going to have to do cold things here.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a tough spot to be in. But we've seen Cold already kind of playing in peak form, and you know what?
What's the plan?
I think he could do it again, but he's playing smart.
Only 98 above.
Taking his time here. It only takes one to be well out of place for him to go and initiate something huge there, and that's a bad edit. He's gonna give away a spot. He's gonna call for backup, but he gets coned up. Look how quickly he pieces up and finishes him off there. And look at that. Aaron's also lit up too, so...
No,
oh
no.
no! Did you forget a wall, son? That's a huge problem, and Cold is here to just do what he does. Already working around the outskirts. Just a matter of time. Misform, baiting, buying more room, Siphon to kick in, finishes off the teammates just because, and now here comes Ritual to back him up, and then they finish it off.
3-on-1.
Gosh.
I got that 3-on-1.
I didn't mean
what
it.
the fuck?
I didn't mean for him to do cold things. I know seasons ago I said he has ice in his veins. They call him cold for a reason, and that reason continues to exist. And that's just amazing right now, because Cold, we saw him clutch up in earlier games for that top 3 to keep things close, and he does it here again, because we know Aegis, Acorn, and Pollo have been going on an elimination frenzy from the south to the western parts of the map, picking up these key points, picking up these refreshes as well, keeping themselves healthy. This is just excellence at its finest. This rise of VFG money. They get the down onto Booga. And that's a big down for multiple reasons, not just the points, because that's the global championship qualifying race and the team that's on their heels.
Down one goes. Visuals just ticking away. Is there even going to be enough time for the next one to go through? I don't think so. Wait, he had a big hit. Oh, so close yet so far. And you know, with them falling out, it's not really like they lose much other than big time prizing and overall, you know, effort, of course, as far as like getting this high quality practice in for setting themselves up for globals. But still, no one wants to fall. When you're inside the 5th place, you're making a run for at least the top 3 there.
Less than 50 points now. Even though they've been slowed down just a little bit, I know they're going to be looking for key opportunities to continue to try to pick up the pace in terms of eliminations. Even Shadow is doing the same thing. Him, Muzz, and Sphinx are still in that hunt. They started this game with 435 points. I want to say around 80 or so points out of reach of that 2nd global championship spot. And with Muzz down, that puts a lot of pressure on Shadow and Sphinx. Not in terms of damage and Storm Surge, but to get their full trio up. They are on the clock right now, 5th zone, 24 seconds until it officially closes. I will say the silver lining got to be in this situation is there are multiple reboats towards the backside of zone, both on their left and their north side of their original drop spot. So as long as they have some mobility, it shouldn't take too long to get the reboot if they have his card.
Yeah, they're not out of it just yet, but I mean, it just seems like things have been going downhill since that Victory Royale. 28 plays, 12 plays, which is, you know, pretty big end game, but you're missing out on the bulk of the points. So it's been pretty tough for Sphinx and Shadow to find their footing. Let's see if they can kind of turn things around right now, but one thing's for certain, they got to make it, I was going to say, make them move fast. Depending on how long they've been in the storm too, though, you got to think about it, Jacob. They might actually catch sickness because, you know, once around zone 7 turns in, if you haven't exited, I mean, that's it. You're cooked.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate too right here. I'm not sure if he was able to get the reboot card or not, but Shadow, Sphinx forced to go 2 separate directions. And it's Sphinx who's drawing the attention of Neko, Zabi, and Liam, just hoping and praying that he can get Muzz back on up, and then eventually if he goes down, they can move on over and get his card. But as we tune in, Cole, he did get another elimination on to Broken, bringing their team total to 6, and this is exactly how it happened, Monster.
Yeah, you like hanging out in a surge base? Let's just see what happens when these guys start to target you. And then they initiate the fight. Yeah, they're kind of coming up. Looking for a couple more points here. Why not? Take a stab at it. No Elans for Peter Bot just yet. Give it a second though. G Money, Aviv, Rise. Pressure starting to build here. The real question is, will they crack? Aviv ends up falling now. Rise super hurt. Medmiss has to come out here. This is, of course, going to be a tell to the rest of the lobby, but at least it gets it recovered. Look at that mini map. My gosh. That's a problem for everyone here at the Shafts.
All the teams that were thinking it was going to continue to pull towards the north are now having to try to make their way in, which makes that side of the zone pretty congested. You see it going down all the way towards the western edge, even a little bit towards the north as Rise, G-Money, they're able to get healthy there in that situation, but you can see a huge loss in their resources overall. They're a team that is inside of that global championship qualifying bubble, and with 2 games left, hoping to keep that intact with or without Aviv by their side. They know they got to get that job done. Acorn, Pollo Agers, even though they got to rotate, they knew that team was above, and Acorn just peeking through the cone. Vital information for him and his team as they go ahead and extend their position before rotating to zone.
What an end game we're going to be set up for right now. Pollo, Acorn, Agers also leading the pack with these elims too, just really staying in the conversation right now, staying competitive with Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, who are now positioned up just across from them. They have eyes on what's happening here. It's gonna be all rotates coming soon.
Yeah, they're almost like right on that Storm Surge line. We saw him just moments ago, 26, using this elevation before rotation to try to get as much Storm Surge as possible. But with that bird's eye view, they're watching all of these teams start to rotate in, inching further and further away, forcing them to start their rotation. And you see them, instead of just beelining it in, they're continuing to hold that pressure off the top of the mountain, and that's going to give them a clearer picture of what they're working with on that side of the map. But on this side, you said it yourself, it's just so congested here.
Yeah, Peterbot's team was just slightly below right there, but what happens? G-Money takes a huge shot when they exit out, and then the finish of the team has to have been right on top of them. It's Gary and Saul here. Now, Rise does turn around, find elimination. Can he get the second one? These are big and important points. Okay, it's at least going to keep him in the game, but no misform, nothing here to really work with. This is not good. And Rise is going to have to play for another Siphon. You might as well heal, do something. Don't sit there and lose time, and Rise might have just given away his global championship spot. We'll come back to check on the standings here later, but for now, Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual getting active. Still has 6 eliminations, but they picked up a little more damage now. Bobby starting to focus in on them. Outside rotate, Bryce and team, Acorn and crew. Wow.
Yikes. Yikes. That's all that really can be said out of a situation like that. They go down relatively early. A few
Beat the
placement
bot lane
points
on
though
them.
in there for
Not
their
them. One of
efforts.
them.
So with their
Come
global
on.
championship spot secured, and what could be a legacy in the making on
What
the line
is this
for
zone
Peterbot,
anyway?
that last game, I
I
have a
know
feeling,
it
Monster,
See that.
is going to be amazing.
Oh,
It's
I
going to be
get
better
worried.
than Cinema. But the teams that are left alive, Rapid, Kanata, and Bolts, they probably saw them go down. And to enter into this game, it was only a 58-point deficit to overtake that second place spot. Obviously, they increased the lead with a few more eliminations, but there are so many placement points up for grab and the opportunity to get eliminations to close that gap.
I'm just thinking about the full picture all season long. We were kind of looking forward to grand finals with the Pollo versus Peterbot clash, and the irony of it has to end that way here for game number 12 if they want a chance to win this major. Now, knowing them, they might just give us the show we're looking for, but for Pollo, Acorn, and Agers, it's just business as usual for them. Because you know what? Deep down inside, Pollo has been the boogeyman. So why sign up for that too is what you have to think about. They're just playing so good right now.
saying the feed, Yamzo went down, but not before taking down Craze. And Craze was the one that got the eliminations on the G-Money and Rise, trying to close that gap when it comes to qualification spots. But now it's Muzz, Sphinx, and Shadow who are reaping the reward, because with no Aviv that has the spot, no Booga who's in front of them on that leaderboard, this is their chance to start to join that conversation in a serious manner going into our final game of the day. But if you look at high ground, Bolts, Kanata, and Rapid, they're looking to not just be a part of the conversation, they're looking to steal the show.
Aviv, G-Money, and Rise had a 60-point stretch over Booga starting his lobby off, and even further for Muzz's trio, so that's going to be huge for Bolts, Rapid, and Kanata. They need a lot more eliminations, so this is a great start for them to start earning some points and at least taking advantage, putting themselves in a conversation for maybe even a second place here. Maybe you know, they could stand to benefit potentially if Peterbot's team takes down Acorn. Who knows what the last game's going to yield, but one thing's for certain, whoever wins this game, if it's Kanata's trio, that's going to shake things up. If Acorn's team doesn't go the distance, Cooper, Reed, Curly, playing the low ground on the outskirts right now. Definitely a wild factor here in the lobby. They must go.
Those are key eliminations right there. 4 more points and more because of the placement, knocking that team out of the lobby. They see so much chaos going down around. They're just trying to peek and find that perfect opportunity to get more. There's Bolts, Kanata, and Rapid, because so much is going on in and outside of the different layers on the low ground. Nobody has really had a chance to feel comfortable enough to look up. The one team that would, Agers, Acorn, Pollo, they're on that ultimate low ground. They're building space, and they're trying to claim it as their own, but Bolts is still going on the hunt. You talked about eliminations being needed. Well, he heard you loud and clear.
Yeah, he definitely has to do something. But look at this, Agers, Acorn, Boyo still standing here, earning placement points ever so slowly. They did everything they needed to do for the elimination, so they have racked up enough. Bolt is still getting active, though. Huge shotgun shots. He has to force his way back to the top of that med miss or misforms, just to buy him a little bit more time. And finally now, pressure comes from the low ground here, forcing Agers up and out, but Boyo's hot on the heels here. They're doing an excellent job rotating together. Bolt sees what's happening. They know you have to target second height. You can't get them or allow them to get comfortable. And here it is, the clash that we've been waiting for might just happen.
Yeah, and they know exactly where they're at because of the hot potato with that medallion. And there goes a flank right there. Bolty yoinks him in, almost gets that knock and elimination. Pollo, life flash right before his very eyes, but quick thinking, the medallion changing hands. Chug Jug is out. His team's gonna build him a path, using the misform to try to get to the front side of zone, buy him time to heal. But I think Bolts might know there's somebody that did not go with him, that is last to enter and might be the first to leave as they continue to target down below. They know if they have any chance at taking that first place spot, they need to figure out a way to take down the Titans. As Fleek steps in the way, Bolts is going to take him out regardless who he is, and enters that misform to reclaim their high ground.
This is why I absolutely love the misform in the end game as well. It just picks up the pace of the game. So many opportunities to just prove how far ahead you can be as an individual competitor. And Boyo is still going as well. I know we're focusing in on what Bolts is capable of, but Boyo is standing here strong alongside Acorn. Acorn's gonna fall, he's gonna pick up some material now. Someone has managed to actually reclaim high ground, so Bolts, Rapid, and Kanata are actually just...
Where's the default nut? Nope. Who?
Talk about a big
Who the
game
fuck
to keep
wins
them
this
in
thing?
the running here and now. Over Agers, Acorn, Boyo, a back and forth fight, and then Muzz, Shadow, and Sphinx taking full advantage of the
I need to
opportunity
set
that
all
was
time.
nearly gifted to
You
them
did not
because the
get
VG
paid
money
out.
rise fall, Booga threats increase
So
fall, Visual Brazen diminish out of the competition as well, and all of a sudden now those that matter are stepping up when it matters. Jacob, that was a great
I'm
game.
not waiting to.
And talk about a way to kind of set us up, right, for the finale year to come.
Yeah, and these just plays like this, they get the high ground. They know everybody down below has been through the ringer, and they just calm, cool, collected. Just get these eliminations and even dive down to pick up the loot like you're watching Bolts here, and that just reinforced their position up above. But we talked about it throughout the course of the game in terms of Peterbot, but Kanata, Rapid, and Bolts, they need eliminations to close the gap if they want to take that first place spot. Well, guess what, Monster? They ended this game with double digits. They ended this game with 14 eliminations after taking down Sphinx here for the victory royale. That plus the 65 points, 121 point game for a team that's all but clutched their spot to the global championship. But with one game left, Monster, we got to throw it to Zeke, Kelly, and Vivid to break down all that actions and lead us to the promised land.
Where Pete doesn't drop demons though.
Nope.
He will 100% roll the dice. He would rather go for first and end up in third or worse than try to play for second. There's just no
Production,
way.
I'm so sorry. I need the highlights of those final few moments of that game. Oh my gosh. 14 elim victory royale. And essentially the tail end of the competition. Oh man, I spoiled myself on the standings too.
What the
oh, okay, Zeke, focus. What an insane game from the trio, right? What an insane game, Kelly. They have height, and in those moments, and again, I cannot like talk enough about this trio. Again, pressure is on. We're trying to qualify, and Kanata's not thinking, I just want to qualify. I want to win. Bolt is right there with him. Rapid there to support beat after beat. I'm blown away. I'm at a loss for words. It's crazy.
I mean, after yesterday's games where we saw Muzz get 13 eliminations, I was like, there's no way we're going to see anyone get any more than that. Even Peterbot has peaked out at 11 eliminations, but to get 14 elims in the 11th game of the final grand finals of the season, I can only imagine how loud that dig house was. Kanata yelling at the top of his lungs, and with Bolt, Rapid, and Kanata playing exactly like how they like to play. This was their game to win, and they did it with flying colors.
Yeah, I mean, Bolt's just playing on the edge of danger at every single waking moment, right? Constantly dropping down, of course, the misform to kind of back up that type of play style, but just making sure that he and his trio had enough materials to kind of hold that high ground, apply enough pressure. The amount of times we kind of saw him dip down, pick up some of those mats, fly back up, make sure his trio was healthy, and then at the very last moment as well, Jacob kind of called it out, kind of using the misform, returning back to Kanata, dropping the misform so Kanata had that little bit of an extra boost in the heal off if he ended up needing it. Oh, just crazy stuff happening on NA. Game number 11. I told you it was going to set us up big for game number 12.
Oh, dude, the tech, that's what blows me away. Bro, just think in the moment, you're like, I have a misform. It has two charges. You could, if he just used both to try and find that player, find Sphinx, track him down, I would be like, yeah. He misforms up to Kanata and drops him the final charge. Just think about the implications. Kanata's like, oh shoot, something's wrong, misform. Gotta go find some, you giving me time to go look. Oh my gosh, Bolts, you're nuts. Okay, I love Fortnite. We're gonna go to a break. When we come back, we're gonna take a look at these standings. Your little mind's gonna be blown.
Come on.
So is mine. Get ready.